Hello everyone. In today's video, we are going to see whether a given relation is a function or not by doing some past paper questions. Let's get started. To prove that a given relation is a function or not. A given relation is a function only when the function should be either a one-to-one function or many-to-one function. To check it's a function or not, we have to draw a vertical line and check that it cuts at how many points. It should cut at only one point on the curve. Let's see the condition for the function to have an inverse. You can plot inverse of the function graph only when the function is one-to-one function. You can plot the inverse of the function on y is equal to x-axis. Now let's pick some questions from the past papers. So this is my first question. We have few graphs in front of us. What he is asking us, write down the letter of each graph which does not represent a function. As I told you earlier, to check that whether it is a function or not, we have to draw a vertical line and it should cut the curve at only one point. Let's draw the vertical line. This is my vertical line. As you can see that it cuts at 2 points on the curve. So this is not my function. Let's plot it here. This is my vertical line. It cuts the curve at only 1 point. That means this is my function. Let's plot the line here. It cuts the curve at only 1 point. So this is also my function. Let's plot the vertical line here. It cuts the graph at only 1 point. So this is also my function. Let's plot the vertical line. It cuts the graph at 2 points. So this is not my function. Let's draw it here. It cuts the graph at 1 point. So this is my function. What he is asking you? Write down the letters of each graph which does not represent a function. So he is asking does not represent a function. Which are not the functions? A and E are not the functions. Let's write down A and E is not the function. Let's see the second question here. Write down the letter of each graph which represent a function that does not have an inverse. As I told you earlier, the inverse to be happened in the function should be one-to-one function. That means he is not asking you which one is one-to-one function. He is asking other than one-to-one function. Let's plot the horizontal line on the graph to check that whether it's a function is one-to-one function or many-to-one function. Let's plot the line. The first A is not a function, so I am not touching at all. B is a function, so I am drawing a horizontal line. This is my horizontal line. As you can see from here, this cuts the curve at 1 point. If you go down, you will get one value of x for one value of y. This means that this is one-to-one function. Let's write down here, this is one-to-one function. Let's see our C graph. I am drawing a horizontal line. This cuts the curve at 2 points. If you go down, for two values of x, I am getting the same value of y. That means this is many-to-one function. Let's see our D graph. I am drawing a horizontal line here. It cuts the graph at 3 points, 1, 2 and 3. So for 3 values of x, I am getting one value of y. That means this is also many-to-one function. E is not a function at all. Now I am taking the graph f and I am drawing a horizontal line here. This cuts the graph here, and if you go down, you are getting one value of x for one value of y. This is one-to-one function. What he is asking us? He is asking us the letters which represent a function that does not have an inverse. That means he is asking which is not one-to-one function. Which is not one-to-one function? This is many-to-one function and this is many-to-one function. So our answer is C and D. Let's write down the digits here. My answer will be C and D. Let's see one more question. This is my question. Again, we have a graph in front of us. What he is asking us? Write down the letters of each graph that represents a function giving a reason for your choice. For that, we need to plot a vertical line. Let's plot the vertical line on the first graph. This is the graph. I am plotting the vertical line. It cuts the graph at 2 points. So this is not a function. Let's plot the vertical line in the second graph. It cuts the graph at 1 point. So this is our function. Let's take the third graph and draw the vertical line. It cuts the graph at 1 point. So this is our function. Let's plot the vertical line on the fourth graph. This cuts the graph at 2 points. So this is not a function. He's asking us represent that a function. A function is a graph B and graph C. That will be my answer here. Let's write down the answer here, B and C. I have to give the reason why I have picked the graph B and C. Let's see the graph B first and judge that whether it is a one-to-one function or many-to-one function. I'll draw the horizontal line. It cuts the graph at 1 point, and if you go down, you are getting one value of x for one value of y. This is one-to-one function. If I draw the horizontal line here in the C graph, it cuts the graph at 2 points. For two values of x, I am getting one value of y. This one is many-to-one function. I have to give the reason that why I picked the graph B and C, because B is one-to-one function and C is many-to-one function. That is my reason. Let's see the second part here. They are asking, write down the letters of each graph that represents a function which has an inverse giving a reason for your choice. As I told you earlier, first of all, it should be a function and the inverse should happen for only one-to-one function. Which graph is one-to-one function? Our B graph is one-to-one function. That means for B, the inverse is possible and this is also a function. Let's write down the answer. So here my answer will be B. What is the reason behind that? The reason behind that, this is one-to-one function. That's my reason behind it, because only for one-to-one function the inverse is possible. Let's see the third example. This is again the past paper question we have. This is a graph in front of us. Let's see the graph here. So there are 4 graphs in front of us. What he's asking us, place tick in the boxes in the table to indicate which descriptions, if any, apply to each graph. There may be more than one tick in any row or column of the table. What he's asking that? A, B, C, D. I need to make a tick because there are 4 questions you have. That's why this is A, B, C, D. First of all, not a function. Let's see that which one is a function. To check that which one is a function, I need to draw a vertical line on the graph. Let's plot the vertical line. If I draw the vertical line here, this cuts the graph at 1 point. So this is the function. Let's draw the vertical line on the second graph. This cuts the graph at 2 points. So this is not a function. Let's draw the line here on the third graph. This cuts the graph at 1 point. So this is my function. Let's plot the line here on the fourth graph. This cuts the graph at 1 point. So this is my function. What he's asking? He's asking not a function. Which one is not a function? B is not a function. Let's put a tick here in the B. So this is not my function. Let's see the second part what he's asking. It should be one-to-one function. To check that it is one-to-one function, I need to plot the horizontal line. Let's plot the horizontal line here. This is my horizontal line. This cuts the graph at 2 points. For 2 values of x, I am getting one value of y. This is many-to-one function. Let's see the second graph. This is not a function at all, so I'm not going to touch that. Let's see the C graph. I'm plotting the horizontal line here. This cuts the graph at 1 point. For one value of x, I'm getting one value of y. This is one-to-one function. Let's see the fourth graph. I'm plotting the horizontal line here. This cuts the graph at 1 point. If you go down, for one value of x, you are getting one value of y. This is also one-to-one function. He's asking us one-to-one function. Which is one-to-one function? C and D is one-to-one function. Let's put the tick at C and D. So C and D is one-to-one function. What he's asking in the next part? A function that is its own inverse. As I told you earlier, inverse is possible only in one-to-one function. So one-to-one function is C and D, but which has its own inverse. To check the inverse, I told you have to check it on the line y is equal to x axis. Let's draw the line y is equal to x axis here. If I draw the line here, this is the line I have, y is equal to x. I will draw the line here also. This is also y is equal to x line. Now which has its own inverse? If you can see from here, how we plot the inverse? We have to draw exactly perpendicular point. If I pick this point, the perpendicular point will go here. If I pick this point, the perpendicular point will go here. This graph has its own inverse. But if I see here and draw a point, this point will go here. That means the point will come here at this point. If I want to plot this point, it will go here. This will be here. If I join the graph, it will be like this, touching to the center, and it will go like this. This is not the own inverse. So the own inverse answer is which answer? C part. So a function that has its own inverse is C part. What he is asking next? A function with no inverse. Inverse is not possible in many-to-one function. Which is our many-to-one function? This is our many-to-one function. That means the answer A is correct. Let's put the tick here in A. This will be my answer. I hope now it is clear for everyone how to check that whether it is a function, a one-to-one function, a inverse function, and many-to-one function. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Bye-bye everyone.